Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. Can somebody please lead the invocation prayers? Somebody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I?
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Om Adgyanatimirandhasya Gyananjaya Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitamena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Padantikam. Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Uta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Sri Rupam Shagragatam Shahagana Raghunatam Tam Shah Jivam. Shadvaitam Shavadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Invitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Bindavoneshwari Vishwahanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpataruhascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanaviya Vaishnavaviya Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brindo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming, for discussing Srila Prabhupada and Krishna's instructions, and thank you in advance for taking the responsibility for applying these teachings in your respective life. So last 2 weeks, during my spiritual master, His Grace Vaishekhadas Adhikari's recent visit to Toronto, his first statement to me, in full excitement, he said to me, "Is your team coming? Where is your team?" So instead of responding to my point that I was talking to him, my spiritual master first remembered you all devotees and then later responded to my point. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.4.35, Vidura cried very, very loudly because Krishna remembered Vidura immediately before Krishna left this material world to go to Goloka Vrindavan. So let's first read Srimad Bhagavatam 3.4.35 translation and purport, and let me know if any one of you get the same ecstasy as Vidura. Let me bring up on screen. So I have 3.4.35, Ariya translation and purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation: Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna while quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. Purport: Vidura was overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love when he understood that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of him at the last moment. Although he thought of himself as insignificant, he was remembered by the Lord, by his causeless mercy. Vidura accepted this as a great favor and thus he cried. This crying is the last word in the progressive path of devotional service. One who can cry for the Lord in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Vidura cried very loudly. And this is exactly how my spiritual master remembered you all, just as Lord Krishna remembered Vidura. Anybody, any questions, comments, realizations on this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Just wanted to say, I think thanks to you that we get the mercy of Guru Maharaj. So thank you.
You are getting the mercy from where you left off from your previous life. Understand that you all are sent to the classes by spiritual master, by Shri Shri Radha Krishna. Has nothing to do with me. It's your devotional service. So Gauri from the other batch got initiated. She is now Gopali Devidasi. Follow me, present among us right now. She took shelter from our spiritual master to get initiated, so she's going through the process. And few devotees requested shelter as Siksha Guru. So they are still waiting to talk to my spiritual master because everything happened on the last day. So now I have confirmation from my Guruma that if any of the devotees from our various classes, if you do not have any other spiritual master in mind, and if you are scared for initiation, you can take spiritual master as a Siksha Guru. So many devotees did personal services for my spiritual master and a lot of services during last 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody. Everybody got Maha Prasad. Somebody wants to share the magic of the bitter lime, including the bitter lime shell coming from spiritual master, tasting sweet as an apple shell, and also share your experiences. Many of you are present. Somebody wants to share the lime magic. Did any one of you get the lime? So I don't know if those who are present, they got, follow me, go ahead.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, I got a chance to taste the lime from Guru Maharaj's leftover plate, and it was very stunning that the entire lime I could eat, and it was very sweet, and like there was no bitterness, and this happened twice. So it was something I noticed. Generally, when we eat the limes, this flesh we can't eat, but this time it was so different. So there is something there which we are normal situation can't explain. And it was
Yeah.
very ecstatic.
Yeah. So the lime, the green lime, the shell is so thick and so bitter. But here, all devotees, they eat the lime, including the shell, as if you are eating the shell of an apple and it tastes sweet. Can you imagine? And Paulavi said it right. You cannot explain this to anybody. Thank you. Rest of you. Many of you are present who did services. Patyush.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna everyone. I think for my service, what struck me was seeing your level of energy and your work ethic, even when you are working from 6 a.m. Prabhuji, always guiding us, always engaging us in conversation and teaching us as well without taking any breaks. So that is just a small inspiration that I hopefully can inculcate myself in my life as well. Hare Krishna.
All glories are for Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Malti.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just want to say thank you for the opportunity to do the direct services for Guru Maharaj. It was really nice experience to serve Guru Maharaj and talk to him directly. it was different than I expected.
Mm. Very good. Malti was there multiple days, early morning, very early morning, before 4 a.m. starting the travel to reach the temple early morning to cook and serve breakfast to Guru Maharaj and Guru Mat. Thank you for your services. Anybody else? Any last comments to share for your experience in the last 2 weeks? Tush.
Also, Prabhuji, some of us met Guru Maharaj Ji only for like 1 minute, but even in that minute, he appreciated the fact that we worked in the kitchen and how kitchen service is important. So that small appreciation, I think, also goes a long way. So
Yeah. Yeah, he knows everything. That's why his first statement, he inquired about all of you. He already knows. Although he has so many disciples, although what I was talking, he didn't respond to that. He first inquired about all of you. Very good. All right, so today I will first answer inquiries submitted by you all for the last class of Nectar of Devotion on chapters 17, 18, and 19 on Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. And then I will answer inquiries on Sri Isopanishad. So we have a lot of inquiries. Let me quickly bring up the inquiries on the screen. So first from Nectar of Devotion, question number 1. What view on material wealth and reputation does a devotee in the state of bhava hold? So there are 2 verses that directly answer this. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.3, we'll read translation and purport, describe the way of life of a spiritually minded householder. Shruti will read 5.5.3 translation and purport from the screen. So this is Rishabdev speaking this verse. Rishabdev is Krishna himself.
Hare Krishna. Those who are interested in reviving Krishna consciousness and increasing their love for Godhead do not like to do anything that is not related to Krishna. They're not interested in mingling with people who are busy maintaining their bodies, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. They're not attached to their homes, although they may be householders, nor they are attached to wives, children, friends, or wealth. At the same time, they're not indifferent to the execution of their duties. Such people are interested in collecting only enough money to keep the body and soul together. Purport: whether he is an impersonalist or a devotee, one who is actually interested in advancing spiritually should not mingle with those who are simply interested in maintaining the body by means of so-called advancement of civilization. Those who are interested in spiritual life should not be attached to homely comforts in the company of wife, children, friends, and so forth. Even if one is grihastha and has to earn his livelihood, he should be satisfied by collecting enough money to maintain body and soul together. One should not have more than that or less than that. As indicated herein, a householder should endeavor to earn money for the execution of Bhakti Yoga, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padam Sevam, Archanam, Vandanam, Asyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. A householder should lead such a life that he gets full opportunity to hear and chant. He should worship the deity at home, observe festivals, invite friends in and give them prasad. A householder should earn money for his purpose, not for sense gratification.
Right, direct answer. That collect money just to keep the body and soul together, not for sense gratification. And further, Srimad Bhagavatam 4.30.19 describes the attitude of advanced devotee towards material opulence. So I have 4:30:19 on the screen. Naresh Prabhu, can please read. Okay, so this is a little longer purport. Let me find the reading. Okay, you can start reading from the start and I will stop you, Naresh Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna all. Those who are engaged in auspicious activity in devotional service certainly understand that the ultimate enjoyer or beneficiary of all activity in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, when one act, he offer the result to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and passes life always engaged in the topic of the Lord. Even though such a person may be participating in family life, he is not affected by the result of his action. Purport. Generally, a person living in a family become overly attached to fruitive activities. In other words, he tries to enjoy the result of his activities. A devotee, however, knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and the supreme proprietor. Bhak- just a minute. Bhaktaram Janam Tapasyam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Consequently, the devotee does not consider himself the proprietor of any occupation. The devotee always think of Supreme Personality of Godhead as the proprietor. Therefore, the result of his business are offered to Supreme Lord, one who thus living in the material world with his family and children never become affected by the contamination of the material world. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9.
Okay, so basically both verses that we read talk about the same, that the devotee is doing his duties in the material world as householder. He is not attached to uh, children, to wife, to opulences. He's using everything for service of Krishna because devotee knows Krishna is the proprietor. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasu Sarva Loke Maheshwara. Does that answer the inquiry?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Question number 2. There seems to be a large gap between Vaidhi and Raganuga while seeing the comparison table. What does the stepwise progression look like and how to achieve that? So purification of anarthas is one of the key points to moving towards Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So if you recall the Nectar of Instruction Overview chart and Nectar of Devotion Overview chart, I had lines on the side running from top to bottom that the Raganuga Bhakti line was blurred before Anartha Nivritti. After Anartha Nivritti, the Raganuga level becomes evident. So Anartha Nivritti is one of the key points. And having intense lobha to serve Krishna spontaneously is also key. But this lobha to serve Krishna does not develop unless the anarthas are purified. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, doing devotional services, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees and serving devotees are some of the steps towards purification. So all of you are already on the right path towards purification, and you can fast forward your progress by getting initiated from a bona fide spiritual master. We'll soon read from Sri Isopanishad. When we reach Isopanishad inquiries, we will read, Prabhupada says, it is mandatory to approach a spiritual master. So all of you should consider, I already explained that I have a confirmation from my Guruma that if you are scared for initiation, start by taking a spiritual master as Siksha Guru. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 3. What is Prapti Abhilasha? Is it desire to get Krishna's darshan? How does one achieve Krishna and how does one know? So we discussed the secondary characteristics of Bhava Bhakti are. One is that Bhava Bhakti softens the heart of a devotee, and devotee very easily gets moved by Krishna conscious emotions. And the second secondary characteristics of Bhava Bhakti is that gives rise to 3 kinds of taste. One is Prapti Abhilasha, means desire to achieve Krishna. Second is Anukulya Abhilasha, means desire to please Krishna with services. And third is Sahudra Abhilasha, means desire to be close at heart with Krishna. So Prapti Abhilasha means desire to achieve Krishna. Now, do not try to achieve Krishna. Rather, do devotional services so nicely that Krishna comes to see you. In terms of how to know, it is going to be very difficult. For a devotee engaged in services, if Krishna himself comes in front of the devotee will probably think this cannot be real because I am not qualified to see Krishna. So this is the attitude one should have. From Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51 on Muchukunda pastime, those who are pure, just as Muchukunda, they are able to recognize Krishna from the various characteristics of Krishna that we read in scriptures. We know that scriptures are the link to spiritual world. So just as in Canto 10, Chapter 51, Muchukunda was sleeping for some 2 million years, and when he was woken up, he saw Krishna. So he's sleeping somewhere in a cave in a mountain and he sees Krishna, and Muchukunda says to Krishna that I have not seen you, Krishna, before. But based on the descriptions from scriptures, you resemble to be Krishna. And then Krishna goes on to acknowledge, and then the conversation continues on those front. And I have described that Muchukunda is an example of thanking Krishna for darshan. So in the 4 steps, normally we ask forgiveness. But Muchukunda had done nothing wrong. He was sleeping for 2 million years. So in the second step of the 4 steps, when you see Krishna, Muchukunda thanks Krishna for darshan. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 4. In the class, you mentioned that Raganuga devotees can reach Kevala Prema stage. What about Ragatmika devotees? So Ragatmika devotees are already pure devotees and they are already at Prema stage. Question number 5. In the class, you gave a comparison for Raganuga, Vaidhi, Bhava and Prema levels. What about Ragatmika? Are they mostly falling in Bhava and Prema category? So as I just said, Ragatmika are at Prema state. They are already pure devotees. Hence the column of Prema applies to Ragatmika. Question number 6. Please, could you give some examples of special service to do during Janmashtami? So all services are equal, and the attitude should be to always try to do special service to please Krishna. In Nectar of Devotion, chapter 9, we discussed 3 kinds of personal prayers and submissions. One is samparathanatmika, that feelingly express sincere sentiments for service. That, my Lord, I am praying at your lotus feet that my mind may become attracted to you. Just as young boys and girls have natural attraction to opposite sex. Second prayer, personal prayer, is Dainya Bodhika, that humble confession to the Lord that I am in a very wretched condition, that there is no living entity more sinful than me, nor greater offender than me. I am unashamed. And the third personal prayer is Lalasmai, that advanced devotee cries for specific eternal service and special service. Just as from Narad Purana, for desiring for perfection, says, my Lord, when will you ask me to fan you? So in terms of practical example, as is demonstrated by here at Toronto Temple by our dear Kamalakanta Prabhu's wife, Premarani, a simple example, that at the Toronto Temple or all temples, when we wash Gopinath plates, we generally leave the washed plates in the tray for the utensils to dry out by themselves. But Premarani, she will pick up a clean cloth and dry the Gopinath utensils every time, not just on Janmashtami. Every time she comes for service, she will dry the utensils. Although the utensils very soon dry out by themselves. You live in the dish tray. So this is one example of personal service. And there can be any. You serve the devotees, go above and beyond what the devotees ask you to do. So all devotees from our batches, they are trained very well. And they are the only set of devotees at the temple who do cleaning after the services is finished. So that's a special service. Not just for the service you are doing, but when you clean after your service, means you are serving the next devotee who is going to come to cook because they get a clean space. Does that answer the inquiry? I'm hoping I'm audible.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. Question number 7. Ragatmika Bhakti was not mentioned in Nectar of Devotion chapters 15 and 16. How to understand this? Except reference in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22. So Nectar of Devotion chapters 15 and 16 are on Raganuga Bhakti. That how Raganuga devotee will follow a pure devotee, a Ragatmika devotee, and this is how you understand about Ragatmika or a pure devotee. from Nectar of Devotion, chapters 15 and 16, which are on Raganuga. Does that answer? Question number 8. According to this chapter, why is it essential to first become free from material contamination, anartha nivritti, before aspiring to follow the spontaneous loving moods of the residents of Vrindavan, like the gopis, Nanda Maharaj, and Yashoda? So material world and spiritual world are like oil and water. They do not mix. If we are caught up in material consciousness that I am the enjoyer, then spiritual consciousness of Krishna is the only enjoyer will not develop. So I'll bring up on screen Srila Prabhupada's short clip as a direct response to this inquiry. Subhash Prabhu, you want to read from the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, 22nd February. Unless one becomes distasteful of this material world, it is to be understood that he has not yet entered into the spiritual understanding. This is the test of bhakti. If one has entered the domain of devotional service, this material world will not be at all tasteful for him. Mayapur, February 22, 1976. Hare Krishna.
So this is Prabhupada's direct instruction on the inquiry. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 9. Srila Prabhupada in his lectures mentions twice how devotees can also use anger in Krishna's service, like Bhishma or Hanuman. But this is not recommended. Were Bhishma and Hanuman Raganuga devotees? Is it more acceptable for Raganuga devotees or Ragatmika devotees to use anger in Krishna's service? So we have discussed this in Nectar of Instruction at great length in text number 1, that stay away from anger. Do not try to find an excuse to use anger. Just stay away from anger. When there is a provoking situation, let a senior devotee handle the situation instead of you trying to use anger in Krishna's service, because there is a very fine line whether you are using anger in Krishna's service or whether Maya is using you in service of anger. When one has control on mind and senses, then that devotee can use anger in Krishna's service, because that devotee will not lose control of his mind and senses. You judge for yourself. I'm pretty sure 100% of us have become angry at some point of time. We talk nonsense. Later on, we realize, oh, I should not have said that. Why? Because we don't have control on our mind and senses. So using anger in Krishna's service does not mean we speak anything and everything. Rather, when the devotee has control on mind and senses, he stays in control, even in provoking situation. Hence, anger or Maya does not overwhelm such advanced devotee. Now, Bhishma and Hanuman are pure devotees, not Raganuga. Raganuga is still sadhana bhakti. So we discuss at great length that if you don't read Srila Prabhupada's scriptures, then Raganuga bhakti seems like a very advanced and pure level. But Raganuga is not pure level. Raganuga is still sadhana bhakti. Ragatmika is pure or bhava bhakti or prema bhakti levels are pure. So Bhishma and Hanuman, they are pure devotees, Ragatmika devotees. Of course, both of them, Bhishma and Hanuman, are in the mood of awe and reverence. Does that answer the inquiry? The 2 weeks break has caused a lot of silence in you all. Question number 10. How does one transition from Raganuga to Ragatmika level? Purification is the way to move to Ragatmika level. Question number 11. Humans have this inherent propensity to seek logic, stories, and rationality to arrive at conclusions. Thus, with great devotion, we might still reach the pedestal of Mahatma Gyan Prema. But how can we develop Kevala Prema? So same answer as question number 10, that purification and spontaneous nature will lead to Kevala Prema. Those who follow Raganuga to Bhava to Prema path generally achieve Kevala Prema, and those who follow Vaidhi to Bhava to Prema path, they are also pure devotees. These are generally pure devotees in the mood of awe and reverence. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Last question on nectar of devotion, number 12. Once we develop Kevala Prema, do we need to sever our ties with the material world? So pure devotees does not reject anything material, because pure devotees know that material world also comes from Krishna. We read a couple of Bhagavatam verses on this today at the start. It's just that the view of pure devotees is to use family and opulences in Krishna's services, while materialistic people have the view to use family and opulences for their own sense gratification. Does that answer the inquiry?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I will now bring up Sri Isopanishad inquiries. Question number 1. Could you please clarify the outcome when we fail to recognize that everything in the universe is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord? The initial Bhagavad Gita class on introduction, we had the very first spiritual endeavor questions of what does contaminated soul mean and what does contaminated consciousness mean? So when we fail to recognize that everything is owned and controlled by Krishna, means we are in contaminated material consciousness. When we are materially contaminated, we are called conditioned, meaning the soul's happiness depends on so many conditions that are not in control of the soul. And liberation means free from conditioning, free from contamination. And contaminated consciousness means I am the Lord of all I survey. I am the enjoyer. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 2. In humid countries like India, certain flies, mosquitoes, and pests are more prevalent. Sometimes when we are engaged in studies, eating, or other material activities, these insects might distract us continuously. How do we deal with such a situation, knowing that killing an animal is fundamentally wrong in principle? What legitimate exceptions can be made in this scenario to not incur bad karma? So as is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, verses 1 and 2, Jada Bharat is speaking these verses. With the example of Jada Bharat trying to not kill ants on the ground while he is carrying the palanquin of King Rahugana. So yes, we should not unnecessarily kill other living entities because that breaks the living entity's progress on the evolution cycle because of leftover karma in their current body, which is left over because they die untimely. Now, if we keep the environment clean, or when we are outside, if we stay in a netted protection area, then there is a very little chance of unnecessarily killing insects. Now, karma is an endless loop. Even say when we are talking, there are insects that we cannot see which still get killed while we are talking. So our intent should be to not kill unnecessarily, but understand that it still is unavoidable. Therefore, Krishna says in 18.66 that just surrender unto me and I will take away all your good and bad karma. He says, Mukshishyami ma sucha. Ma sucha means do not worry. Does that help with the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 3. Is the human ego fundamentally the psychological mechanism that converts what has been entrusted to me into this is mine? Does the false ego ever serve any good functions for us at all? So you are correct. False ego causes I am this body, this is mine. False ego keeps us bound in the material world. There is no other function of false ego. So some of you have listened to the creation Srimad Bhagavatam discussion from Canto 3, Chapter 5, where there is a graphic presentation of how false ego is mixed with the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance to generate everything around us in the material world, including our bodies. So we are largely made of false ego, and false ego is in the mode of ignorance. So there is nothing good about false ego from our perspective. Yeah, from Krishna's perspective is different, that false ego keeps the soul bound in the material world. Does that help with the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 4. If everything is complete, Purna, what exactly is the individual soul lacking that makes it see God? Very good. So this was actually discussed in Sri Isopanishad invocation mantra, that why I feel incomplete. Answer is because I want to enjoy, separate from Krishna, exploit material world, resulting in repeated birth and death. This is what makes me feel incomplete, that I'm trying to find happiness in the material world where happiness does not exist. By nature, soul has a need to be happy. But there is no happiness in the material world, hence the soul is incomplete. One tries to be complete at material level, say one gets a spouse, but two incomplete parts cannot complete themselves. And the other is spiritual way, that devotional service is the way to feel completeness. Does that answer the inquiry?
Understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 5. If everything belongs to God, how should we understand private property and wealth in the modern society? Due to the illusory effect of Maya, all in the material world think, I am this body and everything related to my body is mine. According to Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasvam Sarvaloke Maheshwaram. Krishna is the only proprietor of everything. Therefore, everything should be used in Krishna's service. So it is the illusory effect of Maya is why people think this is mine and I am this body. So I, me, mine. This discussion will come up in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2 at great length. Does that answer for the time being?
Yes, Prabhuji, if I can ask a further extension, on a practical level in our life, how do we apply this principle? Like, how should we divide our resources to also serve Krishna as well as our own material needs?
Yeah, so standard is given, we have discussed in Nectar of Instruction, that Rupa Goswami has given that 50% should give to Krishna, 25% for family, and rest 25% for your emergencies. Now, this may seem impractical, that how do we reach 50%? So understand that this is your goal, right? Scriptures give you as a goal to move towards. Now, if you make your home as Krishna's temple, and you are living in the home as a tenant, as a servant of Krishna, then the rent that you pay for your home, the mortgage interest that you pay for your home also counts towards money used in Krishna's service, because it is Krishna's temple. You invite devotees at your home for kirtan and serve them prasadam. So what are you using the home for? To serve Krishna and Krishna's devotees. So whatever you are using for the upkeep of your home also counts as money that you are using towards Krishna. I gave a simple example. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 6. Can you please clarify the second qualification of a bona fide spiritual master? He must be firmly established in Brahman. So it is Brahman and not Brahmin or not Brahmana. So Brahman refers to spiritual. Brahmana is like a priest. So here it is Brahman, not Brahmana or not Brahmin. So this inquiry is from Sri Isopanishad Introduction, paragraph number 11. So we'll read this paragraph. Yeah, so this paragraph, which starts by saying there is a statement in Brahma Samhita. Pratyush, you want to read this paragraph?
Sure, Prabhuji. There is a statement in the Brahma Samhita. Just ride on the airplane which runs at the speed of mind. Our material airplanes can run 2000 miles per hour. But what is the speed of mind? You're sitting at home, you immediately think of India, say 10,000 miles away, and at once it is in your home. Your mind has gone there. The mind speed is so swift. Therefore, it is stated, if you travel at this speed for millions of years, you will find that the spiritual sky is unlimited. It is not possible even to approach it. Therefore, the Vedic injunction is that one must approach, the word compulsory is used, a bona fide spiritual master, a guru. And what is the qualification of a spiritual master? He is one who has rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source, and he must practically be firmly established in Brahman. These are the two qualities he must have. Otherwise, he is not bona fide. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada says it is compulsory to approach a bona fide spiritual master. So I said this at the start that we'll read this point. So all of you become very serious to approach a bona fide spiritual master. If you're not ready for initiation, take a spiritual master as Siksha Guru. So spiritual master, Prabhupada goes on to explain that spiritual master must be firmly established in Brahman. Means spiritual master must have faith in Brahman. Brahman means spiritual. This is not Brahmin, this is not Brahmana. This is Brahman, means spiritual. That the spiritual master has firm faith in spirituality. Of course, spiritual master is a Vaishnava, means Vaishnava, he is already a Brahmana. We have discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam that a Vaishnava is already a Brahmana. A Vaishnava is above Brahmana. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 7. I failed to understand properly the meaning of last paragraph related in the purport of Sri Isopanishad invocation, which starts the completeness of human life. So let's read this paragraph that we bring up. So I have Sri Isopanishad invocation, the last paragraph. Malti, you want to read the last paragraph?
Hare Krishna. The completeness of human life can be realized only when one engages in the services of complete whole. All services in this world, whether social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary, will remain incomplete until they dovetail with the complete whole. When everything is dovetailed with the complete whole, the attached part and parcels also become complete in themselves. Hare Krishna.
So we also discussed this point in question 4 about that why I feel incomplete is because I want to enjoy separate from Krishna. I want to exploit material nature, which results in us taking repeated birth and death in the material world. By nature, soul wants to be happy. There's no happiness in the material world. Therefore, the soul feels incomplete. And devotional service is the only way to feel complete. So when we dovetail our day-to-day life into devotional service, then we will feel complete. Does that answer the inquiry?
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
may I know the exact meaning of service in communal? What does it mean? And interplanetary?
So you have many community services. For example, humanitarian activities. That is community service. But that community service is at bodily level. Does not help the soul. Yes, temporary it is required. Does not mean we have to stop doing community services. No, we have to do those community services with the understanding that we have to go further to helping the soul at the soul level. So I have described that Prabhupada's another favorite word is ism. So all this humanitarianism, nationalism, whatever name you say related to community, they are all isms. They don't help you at the soul level. Does that help you, Path Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. And what is interplanetary?
So now interplanetary is not possible. But previously, if you know the Khatvanga Maharaj pastime, that Khatvanga Maharaj from earth went to heaven to fight on behalf of demigods. Now it is not possible, but back then, or whenever the next Satyug will come, then it will be possible. So scriptures are there for all yugas. So even there, when Khatvanga Maharaj went to fight on behalf of demigods, that was still at the material level, right? That the demigods were being troubled by demons, so they wanted somebody capable to fight the demons, but it still is at bodily level. Does that help?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes.
Thank you. Question number 8. If everything emanating from the complete whole is already perfectly complete, why do living beings experience incompleteness, suffering, and the need to strive for fulfillment? So we already discussed this question with the questions 4 and 7 above. Does that already answer, or do you have any follow-up? Last question for today. Sri Isopanishad establishes that absolute truth is a person, but Sri Isopanishad do not use Krishna directly. What does this mean? So you heard in the discussion that Sri Isopanishad is an Upanishad, and Upanishads are meant for intellectuals who like to argue on the spiritual topic. So if you read the invocation prayer, it says Om Purnamada Purnamidam, but it doesn't say who's this Purnam, because it was the Upanishad is like a puzzle. It does not directly say this absolute truth. Is it he, she, it, they? What? It's not there. Although in the purport, Prabhupada has referenced Krishna, but you would notice if you do a comparison between Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Isopanishad, that in Isopanishad, the reference to Krishna in the purport is very less. In the verses, it's not there at all. Does that help with the inquiry?
So, Prabhuji, all the verses are not from Krishna. It's not a Krishna's words.
They are Krishna's words. But understand who the audience is. The audience are those who are, say, on a Gyan path, who are intellectuals, who are not on the Bhakti path yet. They are very intellectual, so they like to use logic and argument. Upanishads are meant for them. The audience is different. Therefore, Upanishads are written in this way that Krishna is not directly used, the word Krishna, although it references to absolute truth, but is the absolute truth he, she, it, they? Don't know. But it takes them towards Krishna. Therefore, you heard in the recording, the very first statement we discussed on the backside of the Isopanishad book says, Isopanishad is the scripture that will bring you closer to Krishna, although the verses don't directly say about Krishna. But it goes on to purify these intellectuals, these jnanis, so that they come to the bhakti path. Malti.
Yes, Prabhuji, that helps. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, from the striking points and inquiries that you all submit, I can judge that you all are listening to the class recordings with rapt attention. I thank you all. Srila Prabhupada and Krishna will be very pleased with all of you. So Sri Isopanishad will take couple more classes and then Srimad Bhagavatam will start. So all of you can please try your best that you do your spiritual endeavors quickly. Because for Bhagavatam, in the next couple of classes for Isopanishad, set yourself up for Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is meditation. So if you do your Srimad Bhagavatam homework on the day of the class or on the following day, then the whole week it is going to make you remember Srimad Bhagavatam and remember Krishna. That's the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam. So prepare yourself in the next couple of classes of Isopanishad that you do your spiritual endeavors right away. Because for Bhagavatam will become very imperative for you to do the spiritual endeavors immediately for best results, for you to remember Krishna throughout. You will soon hear the discussion on this in the Bhagavatam initial class recording on this point. Any questions, comments, realizations before we stop for the day? So there's a point posted in the question, in the chat, which says, can a Gyan Yogi who does Nam Japa and shows devotion towards Krishna be considered at a certain level of Bhakti Yoga, or are they mutually exclusive? So we have discussed this in Bhagavad Gita chapters 13 to 18, that chapters 13 to 18 are on Gyan path, that those who follow Gyan, how they can come to Bhakti. And we have discussed in there that even though chapters 13 to 18 are on Gyan, but Bhakti comes repeatedly. And in the yoga ladder also we have discussed that if Gyan Yogi stops just at the Gyan level, then he will attain Brahman effulgence. But if he adds Bhakti, then he will be able to go to Goloka Vrindavan. So it's a valid path from Gyan Yoga to Bhakti, just very difficult. It's a valid path as long as the Gyan Yogi is doing Bhakti for serving Krishna. The problem with Gyan Yogi is that when they achieve purification by whatever means, either Gyan Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or a mix of that, then they stop spiritual activity. They say, oh, we are purified. So that is not Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. That serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. If Gyan Yogi takes up Bhakti Yoga to serve Krishna, even after purification, then it is Bhakti Yoga, otherwise it's not. Pratyush, does that help you? All right. Thank you. Okay, Hare Krishna, everybody.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.